Tonight, the Department of Justice zeroing in on Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results in Arizona. The Arizona Secretary of State's office confirming to Outfront that it received a subpoena from the special counsel's team, which is a significant development. It comes as the former Republican House Speaker in Arizona, Rusty Bowers, tells CNN he was interviewed by the FBI about 2 calls that he had with former President Trump after the 2020 election. The other context that's important here is we're also learning that the former Arizona Governor Doug Ducey also got a call from Trump in 2020 pressuring Ducey to find fraud that would help Trump overturn the results of the election in the state. Joining me now, the Arizona Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes. And I really appreciate your time, Mr. Secretary, as we all try to understand what is happening here. You say your office has complied with 2 subpoenas from the special counsel Jack Smith's team, the most recent of those 2 in May. Can you tell me more about them, more about what they were asking for and what it tells you about Smith's investigation?
Sure. First, thanks for having me, Aaron. The original subpoena that was received by this office came at the end of last year, in late December. The next one, as you indicated, was in May. That went to an outside law firm that had been representing this office, seeking some of the same sorts of records from a couple of cases that had been filed here in Arizona, the Trump campaign versus my predecessors, then Secretary Hobbs, and a Ward versus Jackson case, asking for a lot of information out of those cases. Really can't get too much into what exactly they're looking for other than, the specific information that they wanted came out of those 2 cases. And the why question, I hate to get too much into that. Having been a prosecutor myself, right. I prefer to be a little bit circumspect to make sure that the investigation maintains its integrity.
I understand. Can I just to explain to me and to others who may not be fully in the loop on exactly what was this Jackson case that they were so curious about, without getting into details of all the details they asked for, what was the core of that case?
Well, these cases were essentially election contests. This was the Trump campaign and some of their folks. The Ward v. Jackson was Kelly Ward, who was the chair of the Arizona Republican Party at the time. Mm-hmm. It was just another one of the random, various and sundry frivolous lawsuits that were filed all over the United States of America in the feeble and misguided attempt to overturn an American election. It was just a couple of small chapters in that entire pathetic volume. And we're glad to be participating at this stage and hopefully rendering justice out as it moves forward.
All right. So just so I understand, they were asking about that specifically, but you don't know why that particular thing. You're characterizing that particular case as similar to other frivolous lawsuits brought by the Trump campaign. But you don't know why they picked that versus another one in terms of their questioning?
Well, I could speculate just like anybody else, but I think the crux of what is being sought here is the same as what we're seeing across the United States of America. Was there interference? Was there attempted interference? Does it amount to a conspiracy across the country to overturn an election? Were there poorly chosen attempts to influence election officials? I mean, all these themes are consistent. And what we're seeing here in Arizona is not inconsistent with what happened across the rest of the country.
Secretary Fontes, has the DOJ asked to speak with you directly or asked for you to testify before the grand jury?
No requests specifically of myself have been made, but let me remind you, during the 2020 election, I was the Maricopa County recorder here in Maricopa County, Arizona, administering the election on that side. Secretary, now Governor Katie Hobbs, was the Secretary of State at the time. So I didn't hold this office during the course of the 2020 election.
All right. And do you know whether she was involved in this, or they asked for her to appear, or?
You're going to have to ask the governor that question.
All right. Just wanted to make sure I follow up with that. All right. Well, thank you very much, Secretary. I appreciate your time and for you sharing what you were able to with us. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Aaron.
All right. And next, the Democrat challenging President